Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I am here with what you can see is a special treat. That is right, I've got HeroScape set up in front of you all. Now, the Kickstarter that they've got going, not Kickstarter, the HasLab, whatever the hell they call it, Kick thingy, Game Found, whatever, their own personal version of it, which they shouldn't be using, but I've got mixed feelings on the version. I'm just going to call it Kickstarter. The Kickstarter they're doing for the new version, Age of Annihilation, right? And since they have that going on, it got me really thinking about HeroScape, and I was like, okay, I've got to pull out my set. And I pulled it out and I started looking around at all the pieces, and I'm like, okay, I've got to play a quick game of HeroScape because this is just too cool. It's HeroScape. Everyone loves HeroScape. And it's a relatively quick playing game. I had just gotten the game that was on this table off, so I'm going to play a quick game of it real quick and let you guys see how it plays, just in case you haven't seen HeroScape before. I do have a rather large map set up. Let me back it out a little bit and let you guys see all the HeroScape goodness set up over there. So we've got the bad guys all set up on this side, and then the good guys all set up on this side with a huge map set up there in between them. And again, this is all old stuff that I've had up in boxes for a while. And I was like, yeah, I've got to pull this down and let everyone see the glory that is old-fashioned HeroScape. Although I do have to say that after pulling it out, I used to think the minis were very well painted, and I no longer think that. My painting skills are a lot better now than they were then. At the time, I didn't have the ability to paint worth a damn, so I thought their stuff looked great, but now I can paint way better than this. So they're not bad, though. They are not bad for what they are. This is what is it, like bionic World War II soldier guy. He's in here as well. I've got some hero characters, I've got some squad characters, and even for some Marvel goodness, I've got Spider-Man and Venom thrown in it as well. So a bunch of guys on this side, bunch of guys on that side. We're not going to go over every single one. I'll let you guys see their cards as we start playing the game. All right, so just so you understand how the game works, it works off of these plastic tiles, these hexagonal tiles that are in multitudes of different shapes. The ones that are flat like this, that's either water or swamp water. That is the green version. You can move across those, but they are very slow unless you're like a flying character can fly across it. Otherwise, you can only go one hex at a time, so it's better to go around. But you do get advantages for like attacking down or disadvantages for attacking up. It costs extra movement to move up and down this 3D terrainscape. So it's really cool stuff. I have grabbed out one of our little cards here to show you guys the stats. That way you can understand what they are while we're playing the game. Now, I'm not playing the basic version where everything dies in one hit. So these are going to have life points. So when they take damage, we'll put little counters on the cards to represent the fact that they have lost health points. But they have 4 stats to worry about: your movement, your range, your attack, and your defense, and then whatever points they cost. Now, both sides are roughly the same points. I think I came within like 10 or 20, 30, somewhere around there of each other, but they're close enough for our purposes since this is a huge game that I've got going on. Move is real simple. That's how far you can move. That is how many hexes you can go. And it does count as you're going up. So right here is like our base level. If we go up to here, that's an extra movement point cost. Again, going up to here, it's extra movement point. So it's 1 movement point per level that you go up. And you can go up stuff like this, where I've got a little bridge going across here where it's hollow. You can go underneath that, or you can go all the way to the top of that, but you do have to have the movement to get up there. Some characters can fly, like the dragon or Iron Man. They can fly, so they have little bonuses when it comes to doing stuff like that. And just to show you, there's the dragon. He's not actually in this game. I didn't have enough points to squeeze him in, but he is super cool. But he is not in this playthrough. And the premise of the game is multiple warriors from all different time periods and dimensions and everywhere. So that's why you can have World War II soldiers fighting futuristic robots, fighting Vikings, fighting samurai, fighting alien warriors. Anything's possible. Even orcs are in the game. And like I said, there are expansions that have Marvel stuff in it. So Marvel can be in there as well. But those characters are super, super overpowered. I actually had to grab just the 2 cheapest ones. Otherwise, they would just raffle stomp the rest of the characters on the board. So the rest of these stats, attack and defense, literally, that's your dice, right? That's it. You roll that many dice, and your dice are specialized D6s, which focus in for me. It's either got a skull, which is a hit, or a shield, which is a block. That's it. And there are blank spaces. So if our robot here was to perform an attack, he would roll 4 dice in the attack, barring modifiers and special abilities, which we'll get into later. And the defender would roll however many dice their defense is, again, barring any modifiers. And if you attack and have more skulls than they have defense shields, then they take that many wounds. It's literally that simple. That's all you got to worry about. Now, there are things that will change it up, like our Major Q10 here has a machine pistol special attack, range 7, attack 2. He may use the special attack 4 times in the same turn. May target the same figure or a different figure with each attack. That is huge. So instead of just doing 1 4-die attack, he could do multiple 2-die attack. It's a little bit less range, but the only problem is for each one of those attacks, he would be rolling his 2 die, but the enemy would get to roll their full die. So it might not always behoove him. But maybe if it's a weaker enemy that doesn't have that many defense die, then a lot of smaller attacks would be better. And let's see, what else does he have? Wrist Rocket, range 4, attack 4. May use this special attack 2 times in the same turn. It may target the same figure or a different figure with each attack. So less range, but good amount of attack, and he could do that one twice. So really cool stuff. Major here is 150 points. He's actually pretty badass. But to give you an example of a squad, I also have the Airborne Elite, and they're also part of the good guys over here. But they only have 1 life. So anytime one of these guys takes a wound, it takes out one of them, right? So they're not that good. That's why they're only 110 points, which actually pretty decent. Decent move, decent range, decent attack. And they do have some special abilities like grenades or the drop. But as you can see here, Spider-Man's, he's pretty badass. 5 life, 6 move, range 1. He does have some web attacks he can do at range, 4 and 4. He's 160 points. Like, he probably wiped the floor with these guys. So each side does have a handful of characters, which are probably going to make the difference. I like the characters more than I like the squads. What can I say? And just to give you an idea of some of the cool stuff that's over here. Now, this piece is actually a terrain piece, but it can be part of the game. There's a stat card for this as well. And it can cause enemies to respawn as like they're little alien dudes, the soldiers. They can respawn, but it costs a fair amount of points. I didn't actually include that. I just liked the piece, so I threw it in the swamp as kind of like a little decorative piece. As their special Marvel, they got Venom, since the good guys got Spider-Man. So similar stats and special abilities, so kind of evens those two out. But they also have, what is this? Tor Call Nah. He's got a little trample stomp, bunch of life, doesn't move too fast. Range is very short, but he's 220 points because he's throwing 6 dice. He could wipe out a squad. Pretty much anything that's next to him will get trample stomped and just destroyed. Huge, big baddie on the board here. And just look at that mini. That thing is a beast. Now, the paint job on this one's actually pretty decent. That's not bad for what it is. Oh, tell me that doesn't look cool as hell, though. Now, they also got 2 squads of these Marauder doggy things. I'm just going to treat them as 1 squad for my purposes. It's not a huge deal. Move pretty quick, but they're not too too good at attack or defense. Few special abilities. So there's 6 of them on the board, and they're 30 points for 3 of them. So they only cost 10 points for these guys. But they do have some other characters that you guys will see. They've got a little ninja in there. Like I said, Venom, couple of robots, a big bad for the swamp boss guy. He's in there as well. So they are going to be putting up a good fight against our good guys. Now, I am having to make some concessions because I am playing this Solitaire. Okay, so it is what it is. I'm just going to work it my way, make a couple of homebrew rules with it. So how it works with activations when you've got your squads over there and you're activating each one of your little cards. You will have, it's supposed to be 4, but I'm changing this up. Some order markers. And when the regular game is being played, you get 4, 1, 2, and 3, and then 1 with a, come on, zoom in there. Focus for me, an X marker on it. So that X represents a decoy marker. So the opponent doesn't know exactly who you're activating. For me, I'm not going to need that since I'm playing it Solitaire. And since I have so many squads on each side, I think I've got like 7 or 8 on each side. What I'm doing is giving them 5 apiece, right? I'm giving them a handful of squad markers to activate, and all of them count. I'm not worrying about the numbers. They just use them, and those are the squads that they can activate, or character that they can activate that round. So not everyone gets activated each turn. So as you see here, I've got my cards laid out for the good guy side. Handful of markers. If I want to activate Spider-Man and the Airborne and their Sergeant and the robot and this other hero over here, I just put the markers out like so, and those are the guys that would get activated. But the other 2 squads would not get activated this turn. Same thing with the opponents. So this is like my just homebrew rule as a way to kind of even things out a little bit when I'm doing it Solitaire. As far as deployment goes, I pretty much just line the good guys up on the right, bad guys on the left. We're going to go ahead and get started. One thing I do need to do before we get started is I actually have to take my Airborne Elite off the board. I just placed them here so I would remember, because they actually have a special rule that they do not start on the board. They start off the board, and you have to roll to see whether or not they come on. So I have to start each round rolling a d20, and I think it's a 13 and up. We'll start them. Let's check our little marker here. Yeah, 13 and up on a d20, and they can drop anywhere on the board. Now, I don't think it would behoove me to drop them right on top of the enemy, but maybe on top of that bridge over there so they can fire down at some people. We'll have to see. Now, I might actually speed through some of these first turns because I did start them so far away. I wanted to have a huge laid out battlefield here. So it's going to take them a couple of turns just to get next to each other. And a nice little water spot here to put my dice tray. All right, so let's see who's got the initiative. We're going to roll our d20, starting with the good guys, see what they get. They got an 11. Bad guys, see what they get. They got an 11. You got to be kidding me. All right, running that again. 3 for the good guys, and for the bad guys, a 1. Okay, damn. Good guys are starting with the initiative. Let's go ahead and roll for our Airborne, see if they get to drop in on this first turn or not. And they do not. So they do not get to jump in, which means I have to place out my order markers now for each side. All right, so I might actually speed up the camera during this portion of the game while we're doing our movement. But just to show you guys the first couple of ones I'll keep it at regular speed. All right, so we got Sergeant Alexander here. He is getting activated this turn. So let's go. Let's see, 1, 2, and he's not getting a bonus for going down. He only gets the bonus or it costs extra movement points rather when you're going up. And looking at our boy here, same squad or same point cost as the elite guys, the airborne droppers, but he's got 6 points of life. He's actually pretty badass. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, he's got that grapple arm. I might move him towards that bridge over there because he can grapple up and grapple across the water. So that would be a good move for him to take, I think. And just FYI, for this first round, and since there's not a whole lot of engagement or really any engagement going on, I'm just going to go ahead and get all the moving done on this side and the moving down on the other side at the same time. So I'm not going back and forth with the camera. Normally, you're going to do one order marker, right? So I do Alexander, then go to the bad guys, then back to good, then, boom, 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 back and forth. But we're going to do it this way just to save myself a little bit of time. Now he's got 6 movement. I want to get him kind of over this way. Now I'm kind of thinking I should have put him up to the top instead of down here, but it is what it is. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yep, perfect. That'll get him right next to that water. He can grapple across and then grapple up, and he'll be on top of that bridge right over there. I want to get him over there so he can help with that squad. All right, that's all the good guys' moves for this turn. So far, the only ones I haven't activated are one of my other characters down over there. So Vars, all right, he's tucked right there in the back, and the elite guys, since they're not on the board yet. All right, so I think on the next turn, I'm actually going to shrink down my tripod so I can put it up on the table and just point it down because the map is so big. For some reason, I'm steering them all to the back side. It's making it harder to see. But on the next turn, we're definitely going to get some engagements because they're rather close to each other. The little puppies are moving in over in this direction. Vikings and robots going this way. Airborne elites still have to drop in. We got Spider-Man and the bird guy, I forget his name, Zolan, heading around in this direction. But they are going to be fighting swamp monsters, doggies, and the little gunner guys here, plus the big guy and 2 attack robots, 2 evil attack robots, which they actually benefit from staying next to each other because they have that Zatan targeting. So when attacking, if your second guard attacks the same figure as the first guard, add 1 attack die to the second Zatan guard's attack. So their attack's only 2, but the second one gets the benefit and roll 3 if they attack the same target. All right, so we'll pause here, but like I said, it's not going to take long to play through this. The first turn was mainly me explaining things and showing each side. After that, the game will play extremely quickly. It is just a fun, easy game to play, and it looks excellent spread across the table. You can't tell me that doesn't look good. And that's why I'm dying, because I would love nothing more than to jump in onto the Age of Annihilation Kickstarter they're doing now. They overshot their mark. They went a little too big. It's sad because the game is phenomenal. It's really one of a kind for what it does. And even this old stuff just looks beautiful spread across the board, even with my dumbass setting up a map. All right, but you guys stay tuned. We'll see if the swamp monsters and their allies can beat the Vikings and the World War II soldiers and their allies, plus Spider-Man and Venom. All right, y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.